Hey, Deanna Seymour here with a quick heads up. This is a collection of past shows and ongoing experiments. You're going to hear different intros and old ads, but the ideas still hold up. You can tell where you're at by the cover art. And if you ever want to chat about life and business, check out my free community at jointheplayhouse.com. The Online Business Shame Show was originally recorded when I made a course called Steal This Course, which I later turned into Stop Buying Courses, which is now in 2026 a custom GPT called the Before You Buy Buddy. So the whole point of me making all of these things was to help people kind of not fall for marketing tricks that we all don't even realize are tricks until we get into the world, or we are sold things and big promises that are not true. And it sucks. So if you've ever felt guilty about buying something, if you still struggle with that now, just know that you're not alone and enjoy this episode. What you're about to hear is the audio from a live Zoom call that took place on February 7th of 2023. It was a group of business owners that came together to just share their experiences around courses, memberships, coaching, things like that. They had the option to change their name to a fake name and also to keep their cameras off to keep their identity concealed. I also bleeped out any specific mention of names of course creators or course titles, but I think it will be interesting for you to just hear that everybody has a story around this stuff. So if you have your own story, I think hearing other people's stories is going to help you feel less shame and less alone about it. All right, let's listen. Welcome to the Online Shame Show. Online Business Shame Show. My goodness, I already messed it up. Anyways, the first thing I wanted to say, good question. Felicia, how do I feel about colorful language? 100% fine. If anybody's hanging out with me, they better already be ready for it. So I'm totally fine with that. First thing I wanted to say is that I am not trauma informed. So if this is going to maybe bring up stuff for you, I know different people have spent different amounts and it's been, I don't know, it could be hard for some people. So if you feel like it might bring up stuff for you, then I just want you to take care of yourself. And if you start feeling overwhelmed, feel free, like I said, leave whenever you want to. If it feels too heavy, get the support you need. But I'm just a shit talker. I can't really help you. I don't want to stir stuff up and then leave you hanging. So I just wanted to put that out there. And then I also think it's important to thank our teachers. So I just wanted to throw out there the people who have helped me in online business go from wanting to totally quit to realizing that at first I thought I kind of had to choose between being a jerk and making money or being nice and being broke. And I was like, well, I don't know. I want to be nice and make money. And so Kathleen O is my coach, who I love and adore. And Maggie Patterson and Michelle Mazier are the hosts of the Duped podcast, The Dark Side of Online Business. And listening to that really made me feel like, oh, okay. So other people, it sort of got me out of my shell, and I've branched out from there. But I would say that those people are the first people who made me realize, okay, I think I can be nice and make money. So let's try that. Also, I love the fake names. This is so fun. Okay, so let's just do number one. Which pain points or false promises seem to affect you the most? Felicia, let me hear what you have to say about that.
Honestly, don't know a specific pain point that really gets to me, but anything that implies that they're going to help me grow my business tremendously, easily, in a short amount of time always gets me. I'm like, they must have some sort of behind the scene insight that I don't know of, or some magic tool that I haven't heard of, or they must be doing something that is so ridiculously stupid that I have overlooked it. And they have the answer that will solve all of my hustle and grind problems. So I no longer have to hustle and grind. I fall for it every time.
Yeah, me too. Sorry. I'm I shouldn't talk that much because I'm also going to record my own episode of going into way more detail of my story. So please feel free to chime in. April, what about you?
Hi. Yeah, I wanted to piggyback off of that answer. It's the same for me. I fell into a funnel a couple of months ago where the promise was give us 30 days to get your no-brainer course up and running. And then within 30 days after that, we'll start running ads and then you'll be making $10,000 a month, right? That's the goal. And when we do that, you say you can't afford the full, pay in full fee for this program, but it's fine. Just go month to month for now. And then when you're making your 10K months, then you can just shoot us an email and pay it off with no penalty. And I was like, well, if that's a guarantee, shoot, what am I waiting for?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of talk too around like time being the resource that you like a non-renewable resource. And so when people are promising us to do things way quicker, you're like, oh, like you said, it's a no-brainer. You're like, yeah, I need to do this. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Angelica.
I would say for me, it's time in the sense like if you don't get in on this now, this is going to be the best deal right now, or you can get the payment plan, like anything that has to do with time and I need to do it right now, or else I'm not going to get the best results ever have always gotten to me. And that was the biggest, like where I felt duped was something that happened like that. They said this was the only time they were going to offer a payment plan. And of course, in the future, they offered a payment plan and they still do. Or it's you're going to get more access to me, something like that. They try and hook you in with something, and then you never get the thing that they hook you in with. And it's super frustrating.
Yes. Yeah. Or it's closing in the chat. Someone saying it's closing. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? Some people have reached out and surprised
Exactly.
open a little bit longer. Or like you said, I don't know, I might raise the price, or you'll probably never get this much access to me in the future. And so you're obviously like, oh, well, I want the best deal and I want the most access, so I better get it now. Ugh.
Exactly. And something to the point, like you'll get more access to me now, which means you'll have higher results. And then you don't ever get the results because that never actually happened.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And the chat is saying also quotes like, there's only room for 5 people. Get your seat before, and then you get in the course and there's 30 people and you're like, wait, what happened? Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. Anon, did I say that right?
Yeah, just short for anonymous. Hi.
Oh, worried about mispronouncing also fake names in my life. So anyways, go ahead.
No stress at all. The one that gets me is the one where they say like, you're going to get a steady stream of high paying clients or X number of leads in X amount of time, or, get more of the right fit people or things like that. I don't know, for whatever reason that hooks me because I want to like help lots of people. It's kind of why I started doing this. So the whole like, this thing will get you the crowd that you're looking for. That always gets me.
Okay, that's good. That's interesting. And also, like you said, it's what you got in business for. So it makes sense that you're like, yes, that's what I need, my people. And also sometimes it's like hard to get in front of your people. So when someone's like, oh, I can get you in front of your people, and you're like, oh, perfect.
Exactly. Right. Here's my wallet. Uh-oh.
Okay. Take another course. Tina, why don't you weigh in on this one?
Yeah. So I've been wanting to do a retreat. And of course, I'm getting all of these ads that are like the secret to a great retreat. And for me, it's the images of like women splashing on the beach and smiling and like the best retreat on earth. And you can learn how to do it. And for this course, and for only $27, you get all of the secrets. And it's those images. It's like, I want to be smiling and splashing on the beach with my clients. Yes. But it's also like, how is a thing that's $27 gonna do that? I don't know. There's this dissonance there.
Well, I always think it's weird on sales pages. Like, what if I want to have a retreat of people who only do taxidermy for mice without knowing what people want to do? How can they just blindly say, I'm gonna help you do this thing? It works for everyone. Doesn't matter what you're going to do. I feel like I remember seeing things that were talking about sending one email and getting this much money. And at the time I had 20 people on my email list. I was like, that's not going to happen. But I didn't think that. I just thought, well, I want to send one email and make all that money. Because you kind of like lose your sense of, I don't know, like our decision making gets fogged. And like you're saying, the visuals, I'm a very visual, and also like I'm a dreamer. I like that about myself. When I see pictures like that, I can literally start to see my retreat, my face and their face, and like, this is going to be amazing. Like, I just need to buy this. It's this one secret I'm missing. Okay, let's keep going. This kind of piggybacks on that too. Are you susceptible to results not typical testimonials? Because that dovetails really well into the whole imagination, because I will run with a results not typical testimonial and be like, I can totally see myself doing that. All right. Anonymous, are you back for this one too?
I don't know. Maybe not for everything, like in certain circumstances. I think I am susceptible to it when it's the stuff I'm most insecure about inside of myself. And so when it's like, you know, this claim that like this thing that I feel really bad about was fixed super fast and like forever for this person, I think like there's part of me that wants to believe that that could be true for me too. And I could somehow skip over the really uncomfortable middle part of any of this transformation and like, I don't know, fix, you know, I'm doing air quotes here, like fix the problem in 30 days, right? And then not have to do it anymore. So in certain circumstances, I don't. It's like, it's only where I've got really deep insecurities that I can get taken in by those.
That makes sense. Totally. Detective Pikachu, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things is people don't often qualify their testimonials as whether the results are typical or not. I think most are presented as basically everyone can achieve this if you just put the hard work in. So if you don't achieve it, it's your fault. You've either not shown up in a way that they said you had to, or it's a you issue, not a them issue. But the other thing about testimonials I notice is if there's someone I admire or whose circle I aspire to be within, or whose business I would like to not mimic, but aspire to have something similar, I find that testimonials that include those type of people, regardless of how they're truly connected to that person, will have an impact on me, because I'm like, oh, this person did this, but it may not be true. They just could be a peer who like took a look through it. We don't know if it's a true testimonial of the product or whether it's like an adjacent person who's just kind of lending their credibility. But I do think if I see names I recognize and kind of a trust, I'm more likely to be like, yeah, I've got to hop it in this.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because that's like that whole, if you're a friend of so-and-so's, you're a friend of mine. You start to feel like, oh, well, if they've worked with them and I like them, then that's, but also you're right. And I think too, there's a gray area with testimonials where maybe it's true that they worked with them, but maybe not on the same thing that they're selling on that sales page. Like I know for me, I've made gifts for a lot of people, and I've made gifts for some people that I would consider like kind of the people you're talking about. The people would be like, oh, she's worked with so-and-so. But it'd be really misleading for me to put that on a sales page about monthly retainers or VIP days if I've only made them a handful of gifts. You know what I mean? So I think it's a gray area where I'm always also like, because I'm so nice, I'm like, do they know they're doing that? Like, I think they know that they're putting those, if someone were to, like, if I haven't put those testimonials on those pages because I am aware that those people did not buy those services for me. So I often wonder if someone is doing stuff like that. I'm like, they must not realize that that's shady. Or then now where I am in my journey, I'm like, oh, they know. I think they might know. I'm not sure. I mean, but I'm still trying to give people like the benefit of the doubt, but it gets harder and harder sometimes. So that is a good point. Thank you for sharing that. It's a good one. Okay, Macy Gray. Love to hear it.
Hey, yeah, just love her. So I took her name. Yeah, this is a hard one because I think a lot of us, and I'll speak for myself, and I'm sure many will resonate, don't always know which results are typical, right? Aside from the ego part of us thinking, well, maybe this could be typical for me, even if it hasn't worked for other people, maybe it'll work for me. Yeah, I mean, there's that want to be exceptionality in there, but there's also the idea of like not being educated. And I think that people take advantage of others in the marketing space because they take advantage of your not knowing better. And I hate to say that like that because I actually love marketing and I love sales, but it's stuff like that. It's just so frustrating and disheartening.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's see if anybody wants to talk about what's the biggest disappointment you've ever experienced when buying a course. I'm talking like you were super excited. Maybe you opened it and you were like immediately, or maybe not immediately, but sometimes it takes a while, I think, for it to sink in. And you're like, wait, hold up. This isn't, sometimes it's immediate. So, oh my gosh, so many hands. I love it. Like, boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Okay, Macy Gray, let's hear you.
Yeah, really quick. I think it was just because the person I bought it for wasn't even the person who was really mainly involved. And I felt really duped because of that, because I felt like I'd built this connection with this person through her content. And then in the course, it's like you barely had access to her and you had to pay an additional upsell to do that. And that just felt really slimy to me because you didn't hear about the upsell until you're already in the course.
Yes, that's a major one for sure. And also, I just want to point out why some people act like courses are passive income, because I'm like, oh, because you're not going to teach it. Like, okay, I guess that worked for them. Rude. Okay. Pikachu.
Yeah, this one's actually a membership, so I hope it's okay to share.
Yes, 100%.
Perfect. So there was someone I really wanted to work with, but I couldn't afford at the time the higher access, but they started to offer a membership, which as a founding member, I was excited to get into, because I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a format, like they're creating this around the people who join initially. It's going to be a great opportunity. So I joined, and of course, you know, there's kind of that promise of, oh, this is the grandfathered rate, this is the best you'll ever get it for. And we joined, and then it was over 2 months before the membership started, not because that was what had been promised, but because they had an opportunity come to them, and they just basically put it on the long finger for 2 months. So it was 2 months before we even kicked things off. But in the meantime, Black Friday happened, and they put the membership on sale for less than the founding members. So by the time we actually kicked off, I was just so disappointed by the lack of, I don't want to say integrity, because I can't assume anything about them, but it felt like we didn't matter, that we were just a way of making money whilst they kind of figured out the next larger thing they were going to do. And yeah, it just left such a sour taste before we even got started. It just, yeah, it felt very much like you're just a number. And then once the course started, or the membership, it just very much felt like they didn't really feel invested in you as a person. They're very curt often. And I was like, wow, super disappointing.
Were you locked in for a certain number of months, or were you able to get out?
No, luckily I was able to get out, but their team, the back end is set up so you never know who you're talking to. They never sign off as a person's name, and you often have to make a request because, you know, a new person has picked up the thread, or they're trying to make you stay. So it's very opaque as to whom you're actually communicating with, and it will let you go, but it takes a couple of attempts.
Oh my gosh. That is, as somebody with ADHD who struggles to cancel things to begin with, like if I have to keep doing it over and over, like they're banking on people like me too, who would try once and be like, oh, I don't know, I'm like a little nervous to email again, I'll just keep waiting. Wow, that is just like shockingly awful. And that's nice of you to give them grace, but also, like, that's what I'm talking about too. I'm like, well, they know what you were paying and they know what they did on Black Friday. So why wouldn't they even at least come to the founding members and be like, hey, we're going to do this sale. You can jump in at this price to save more. Like, I get it. I feel like someone in the chat was saying, Macy Gray was saying, I do try to have grace for things like this because we're all learning and growing. And I mean, anybody who's been in my membership knows that it's changed and morphed, and it's going to be about reels and it's going to be about this, because I'm learning as I'm going and changing. But I don't think I have, somebody call me out if I have, but I've never like gone backwards and been like, oh, you're going to get it for this much. Just kidding. Now it's really convenient. I need a little cash influx. Let me put a sale up and, you know, make myself a liar. Like, that's crazy. So sorry, I'm going to stop. I'm really trying not to talk that much. This is me not talking a lot. So sorry. Okay. All right. Anon, let's hear from you again. I love this, by the way. I mean, I hate it because all the things we're talking about, but I'm just so happy that you guys are here and sharing. I just want to throw that in the middle of this.
Yeah. Well, my biggest disappointment was having somebody like straight up steal my money and never actually deliver the course beyond the like couple of intro videos. So 700 euros that I will never see again. And we were all in the same membership. So I think that's part of why I maybe trusted somebody I shouldn't have. Everybody was in there, was like workshopping things and creating different offers. And so they put up this offer for the thing they called at the time, like, yeah, I want to learn more about this. And then they got a group of us who I think were all in that same membership into this separate container. And they had a circle community set up and a couple of the first videos. And then like, yeah, we were the beta group and whatever. It's not my first time doing that either. But then personal disaster strikes. Okay, stuff like that happens in life. But then another personal disaster strikes. And then eventually some of the others were like, oh, are we getting scammed? It was so weird. So word of warning, never pay anybody by Wise or TransferWise. Because the only person from our group who got their money back was the one who insisted to pay by card by Stripe. None of the rest of us got money back. The person was operating their business out of which doesn't have a very easy way to go and complain or like launch anything against a business there. Yeah, that was awful. I'm still sore about it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry that that happened. And I just want to say, again, I'm not qualified to chime in like this, but I feel like when you were just talking, you said, I can't even remember now because my brain, but I should have known better. I feel like you said something to the effect of you shouldn't have trusted or you should have known better. And I feel like that's a question coming up, but also I just want to let you know that it wasn't your fault that that happened. You were in a group with this person, you trusted this person, and I want to keep trusting people. And it's part of the reason I want to make this course to sort of talk about these things, but I just want to say that it's not your fault because I heard something come up that felt like you felt like it was your fault and it's not. So there we go. Okay, Felicia.
Hey, so, oh my gosh, this experience brings up a lot of shame, but also a lot of anger. So this is like my moment of vulnerability. But the shame part is that I signed up for a year-long kind of like small group program that was $30,000. It's fucking ridiculous. It's like somebody's salary. I can't believe that I decided to do it, but the program was actually focused on working through trauma. So healing through trauma and redesigning your life and, processing and doing a lot of like somatic therapy and things like that. The person who ran this group had a PhD in psychology. She had all the credentials to back her up. I had read her book. I had met with her and had a consult, and that all felt good. I was like, okay, she must be the real deal. She wouldn't be charging this much if it wasn't worth it. I wasn't the first group that went through this program. She had offered it before. So I signed up, and I was under the impression that it was a very small group naturally, because like who wants to be in a big group talking about trauma? That is not how it was. It was a big group. It was like these huge Zoom calls where people basically just got on and shared their trauma stories, which was completely re-traumatizing. There was no organization. There were recordings and different things that they had done in previous cohorts that she just repurposed for the new one. So it was totally different people from what was in our group. I had no idea who they were. They weren't helpful at all. They were completely disorganized. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm paying so much money for this. There wasn't even like a getting to know you session in the beginning where we could meet the other members of the group. So there was no creation of safety or security or familiarity or rapport with each other. It was awful. I was so disappointed. And so I was feeling really let down and lied to begin with. And then my mom died suddenly. And so I emailed the leader of this group. And I was like, I just can't do it. Like, I have to take a leave of absence from my business and from work, and I'm grieving and I just don't have time for this. And she offered to get on a call with me, which I thought was really sweet. But instead of just like offering condolences, she tried to use my mom's death to keep me in the program, saying, oh, well, this is traumatic for you. So you really need the program and you don't want to leave. And, there's a lot here to work on. And I was like, no, absolutely not. And then 3 months after that, she circled back and asked me to rejoin again. And I told her to go fuck off. I wanted nothing to do with her anymore, because I felt like she was just totally manipulating me to rejoin. Like I was an easy target. It was easier for her to bring me back into the course than to get a brand new client. And I was so disgusted with the program, the tactics, all of that. Cannot even believe that person has a business.
First of all, thank you for sharing that. I am so sorry that happened to you. And I mean, I know you said shame and anger, but I'm like, lean into the anger. I mean, again, I'm not a professional, but I'm like, it's not like, again, it's not your fault. Like, this is what is happening. This is why, honestly, like why I wanted to have this call, to let anyone who is feeling like, oh, I should have known better, I should have done more research, no, it's set up to do this. Like, that person obviously is predatory and not, I was gonna be like, not human. And I'm like, wait, let me choose my words carefully, but not treating people as humans. And I mean, it's just shocking to me that that person even has those credentials and would behave like that. I'm so sorry. This is shocking. But yes, in the chat, it's like, it's almost like they're bred to be like this. The lack of empathy is so scary. Yeah, reporting it to an ethics board. I don't know if that's coming at some point. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do feel like there's a shift in this. Yeah, Better Business Bureau. If there's any way that these people can be stopped. I mean, it's wild to me. So wild. But thank you for sharing. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Ugh. I'm like shook. I don't even know what was. I guess that my next question is, what was going on in your life when you bought a course that maybe later you realized was a mistake? Was there a time when you know for a fact that something was going on? All right, Tina, let's do that one.
So I had just finished all my coaching courses, just finished certification, and just quit my job. And I was like waking up in the middle of the night with anxiety, covered in sweat. Like, how am I going to actually do this? Because I had a really great coach training program that really didn't talk at all about sales or marketing. And I think I clicked on like a Facebook ad or something, and this person had really great, marketing that spoke directly to my pain points. And gosh, it was so scary because I was taking this leap, this shaky leap, like with the pinky toe, and not knowing exactly how to do it. And it kind of was like, here's the first thing that came along, and I said yes to it. And it, like others have shared, it turned out to be this giant program that was talked about as being this small group. Like, our small group Zooms is like, there's 36 people on this Zoom call, and these are the coaching calls. Like, how does that work? But yeah, I was almost like paralyzed from fear. Like, how am I going to do this now that I've quit my job? Do I need to find another job? Like, how will I survive? It was scary.
100%. Yeah, the fear of like not know. And then it does sort of feel like when you're feeling like that, and I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe you felt like this because I've been there. Like, you're already so anxiety ridden, and then you click on this thing, and I'm just going back to you talking about the pictures before. Like, you click on this thing and you're like, oh, look at this. It's like a little oasis, like you're in a desert, like so thirsty. And then you're like, oh, this person knows exactly what I need. Yeah. And it's basically like, if you don't do this, all the things that you're so nervous about are 100% going to come true. So you better click that button and buy this.
Yeah. And it was, the theme that I keep thinking about in a lot of these courses is like, it was her template, her recipe that worked for her and her personality and her life that we were expected to just copy and paste. And it's like, yeah, that doesn't work that way for anybody. And this person wasn't someone who was great at asking questions so that we could find for ourselves what our approach to sales looked like or what our approach to marketing. It was very much like, here's the secret, copy paste. And that just is never going to work for me.
Well, and also the funny thing is, to me, is things that are like that are fine. If you had a formula that worked for you and you want to share it with people, that's like a book. But you can't sell a book for $30,000 or $10,000 or even $2,000. Like, I feel like if you want to write a book, like, hey, this is what worked for me, it might work for you. It's $15. Everybody can pay $15 and read it. That's not really for me. What kills me is when people set it up like, this is what's definitely going to work for you, and it's super expensive, and I'm going to share this with you. So I 100%.
And make sure you join those group coaching calls where you have to elbow people just to say your name at the beginning. Yikes.
Yes. I mean, I think of it too. It's interesting to me because, like, I was a public school teacher. Now I have kids in public school, but 36, I think you said 36, that's a big group. Imagine if my kindergartner or first grader came home and was like, can you get 36 Valentines for my class? I'd be like, 36? That's wild. What? Or if they were like, well, my teacher doesn't really know my name, I'd be like, what? So I think there's the trickiness of also calling it a course and calling yourself a teacher or an educator or saying lessons and modules. I'm like, this is a video. This is a PDF. Like, this is not coming from a teacher. And everyone knows what a teacher is. But that language makes you think, oh, like most of the teachers we've had in our lives know our names, can help us if we need extra help. You can go to office hours or stay after school, and then sort of co-opting that word and using it in this very passive way is like also a whole nother thing. But I'm with you. Okay, Kiri,
Hey, hi. No, because you were asking about what was going on in your life. That was the question, right?
Yeah.
So it's always scarcity based. It's always when you don't have the money is when you spend the money because you're desperately trying to figure out how to make the money.
Yes. Yes, you're right. I mean, yeah, I've been there. And then I also think, I mean, we can talk about this. This is not on the list. I'm going rogue. But sometimes I think that the idea of like long-term payment plans from some people is like for accessibility and to make it available for people who might need it. But I also think there's people who are like, sweet, now it opens up this whole new group of people that I can. Yeah.
The ones who are like, but because y'all asked for it, now it's the last day and we're going to extend the payment plan.
Yeah.
You didn't have that all lined up because that sales page did not just pop up in the last 3 minutes. Those links did not just magically appear overnight.
Part of the plan. Just saying. Well, thank you. Yes, 100%. It is when I am nervous about where am I going to get money that I start spending money on things that are promising me where I'm going to get it and how easy it's going to be and how quick it's going to be, because like Tina was saying, you're like, oh gosh, I don't know if this is going to work. I am feeling the pressure. So,
and now I'm seeing more and more places that are like, but we'll guarantee you'll make this money, but you have to, you read all the fine print, or you go and actually start asking questions, and the guarantee only works if you do exactly their stuff. And I almost fell for it last week. I did not, because the sell was so hard. After thinking about it, I was like, no, because they're going to want me to do that. And I'm not doing that to people. I'm not making you feel guilty for not doing that. I don't know. It's just something about the guarantee that just makes me whack-a-doodle.
Yeah. Well, and like you were saying too, and we talked about this in the beginning, that the results aren't typical, and most people aren't getting that result. But then they kind of flip it when you try to get your money back. They're like, well, have you really done what you needed to do? Like, you just didn't try hard enough. Like, you could actually do it. You're just not doing it. So I guess we can keep having really long, uncomfortable conversations, and you can submit work if you want, but like, it's probably your fault. But I guess if you want to take the money back because you're not willing to do the work, like, it's a totally weird thing. That's why I think it would be interesting to start. And I've sort of told people who were like, I might buy this course. I'm like, why don't you email and ask about this or that? Because I think potentially, I guess now I'm like, oh, it's worse than I thought after today. But I'm like, depending on who's working for them, or like we're saying, who knows who's signing off the emails. But I think you could learn a lot about how they handle questions in the beginning, sort of pushing back before it's even time. Because I think I feel like they'd be like, never mind, you're not allowed to join because you're going to be annoying and expect us to actually do what we're saying. So anyways, okay, let's keep going. Okay, does anybody want to share how much money they've spent on courses, training, or coaching that you've been super annoyed at yourself for? If not, I totally understand. I mean, what'd you say?
I don't want to. I can pull up my QuickBooks and tell you what I spent last year, and it would be obscene.
I mean, if you want to, someone in the chat is saying at least 20 grand, but just courses or courses and coaches, whatever you want to share. I do feel like courses and coaches kind of have this overlap. Okay, someone's saying at least 10K on courses. It's been less than 5 figures, but that $500 was straight theft from this person. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. That's totally insensitive. Sorry, Lucille.
You can laugh. I'll share the story.
Okay.
It's hilariously bad. I was really naive in the online space. I was trying to be a blogger and learn how all the bloggers made money. And I was in a coaching container, which is a term I fucking hate, but we'll call it the container, this group mastermind. And there was an additional benefit you could pay for, this thing that was released later in the year that was, this exclusive thing. It was a complete repackaging of stuff that was shared within the group consistently, just as this brand new product, and it was $500. I think I did receive a discount on that. But then you get further down that rabbit hole, and all the people that they work with and that they've learned from, they're starting to do sales too. So I've already spent $700 with you, and I gave you another $500 for that bullshit. And now this other person that you've learned from that is super highly qualified and comes highly recommended is another $500 for 6 months of bullshit. And it just starts to add up. And like I said, it was always under 5 figures, but I've been duped 3 times, and that's all that's going to happen for me, I hope.
Yes. Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, that's definitely the goal of this. And I know this is like a weird question. It might seem like a weird question to ask, but I just want people who are listening in the future to feel like, I feel like we don't really talk about numbers that much. So just hearing different people's numbers, it just will help, I think, people be like, it's not just me. Because I think there's a lot of not talking about it and a lot of people just deciding that it was them who fell for it or them who wasted too much money or them. I think everything is set up for us to blame ourselves for not finishing the course, not getting the results that we're like, all of it goes back on us. So in the chat too, people are dropping like almost 10K, at least 10K. Let's see.
Deanna.
Yeah.
Look mine up.
Okay.
This is just last year.
Okay.
Last year I coded in QuickBooks 17,000.
Okay.
And that's just last year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you feel that that's all the ones you don't like, or there's some in there that you did like?
I don't even know what's in there. Like I have a spreadsheet. Some are good and some are bad, and it's a mix.
Okay.
It's a mix.
Yeah.
That's the total for last year.
Okay. So, and the person in the chat who said at least 10K, they're saying probably 90% of it was waste. Someone else is saying 8K, at least 10K on courses that were supposed to teach me all the ins and outs of running a successful business. Someone saying maybe 15 or 20. Ooh, okay. This is an interesting thing in the chat that I think we should dive into if we want to. Someone brought up feel more burned by people pushing affiliates, which is part of my story. And like I said, I'm going to share my story in the course. So I'm not going to tell too much of my story. And I will actually, now that we're talking about this, I'm going to go, I don't keep a spreadsheet or QuickBooks, but I will try my best to uncover and add up how much I spent. I just wanted people to hear the numbers, but also everyone's like financial situation is different. And so even $2,000 on a course can feel way different to someone who, I mean, I was a teacher with 2 kids in daycare. So I was probably, after paying daycare, only bringing home $800 a month. So if I spent $2,000 on a course, that's like 2 months of me working 40 hours a week, not passive income. It's just, it all depends. And I'm not saying like, oh, if you have a bunch of money, then who cares if you do this? The whole point is that I just don't want anyone to feel like, oh, but I've done too much or I've done worse. So I thought bringing up some actual numbers would maybe help people listening. Someone in the chat is saying also end up buying a lot of courses I don't really need, even when I haven't finished their other courses, because their model is cheap now, expensive later, and feel the FOMO for paying more later, like we were talking about in the beginning. So, okay, Caroline, what do you have to add?
Yeah, it's a general comment, actually. I just wanted to say that the bit that gets me about the money is, if you think about it, if somebody said to you, can I have 10,000 for doing absolutely nothing to help you, you wouldn't hand it over, would you? When you think about it like that. But it just goes to show the kind of level of, I don't know the word, how sophisticated their marketing messages are, because there's no substance behind a lot of this. And I've taken a good few of the top main courses. Not one of them, I haven't got anything good to say about any of them, to be honest with you. And I just wanted to make another point before I go off mute as well, is I don't know if anyone else feels like this, and I hope you do, but when you've taken the courses, do you often think to yourself, I knew this, like I've just paid, whatever, 2,000-3,000, and I already know this stuff. Like they're not teaching me anything I don't know, or I couldn't get off YouTube for free.
Yes.
So,
yes. No, that is a great point. I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that it's speaking to what we've all been talking about, that it's especially, I can't remember who brought it up, but saying like, I have the secret to this, that implies that it's going to be new information. And in the chat, we're seeing things like, so many course creators barely know anything about the subject and can't answer any real questions. Yes. Even universities don't just sell the knowledge, they sell the experience. Yes. Yeah. Because that's what they say, right? Like sell the transformation, not the features. If you write a sales page that just is like, hey, here's what I have, would you like to buy it? Anybody who looks at it, who's like a conversion copywriter, would be like, this is terrible. You're not going to sell anything. You need to do all the things. So, okay. Sorry, I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my gosh, the chat's amazing. This is amazing. Pikachu was saying that they now prefer bite-sized offers, big courses that take ages to go through and have 90% of stuff I already know, because that takes time and they're all selling you saving time. And I'm like, well, taking a course about a thing before you do the thing actually does not save you time. Like it takes a long time to go through a bajillion modules. So I hate that word modules. I just need to get that off my chest in the shame show. I don't know why. It's like modules. I think I still use it, but anyways, okay. We already talked about have you blamed yourself for any of this. I think we've covered that. We feel that, but we're also here to say we shouldn't, now we're blaming ourselves for blaming ourselves. But you know what I mean? Like we're going to step into not blaming ourselves. It is not our fault. Okay. So what we're going to do is dip into the like super catty for a second. Everyone's been being like really nice. We're not naming names. There's been some names flashing in the chat and I saw them and I was like, saw a few and I was like, So I still kind of want to beep out names. If anybody wants to be brave enough to answer the question, which online business educator do you trust the least and why? And then after that, just to finish, then after that, we're going to give ourselves like if we could go back in time and give ourselves advice. So we'll end on a positive note, but I just thought it would be fun to get a little catty if we want to. Okay. So which online business educator do you trust the least and why? The why part is important because I think that's going to give people tips for what to look out for. All right, Pikachu, let's hear it.
Anyone associated or who admires or speaks about in any capacity. And that's a lot of people. And if they have in the past or adjacent, unless they've addressed it and specifically said why and they regret it or whatever, I am not here for that energy. I don't enjoy the manipulation that goes into that. And if you subscribe to any of that or anything adjacent to it, then you're not my person. And I think you're very predatory. If you're adjacent to someone like it's not a matter of pride. It's a matter of shame, in my opinion. So yeah, that's what I think.
Yes. Okay. See, and I purchased a course that he was involved in through an affiliate. So there you go. When someone was talking about affiliates early, actually 2 of my biggest courses were bought through affiliates. And I was disappointed with both of them because you're buying from the person you actually like, which, well, now I don't really like any of them, but I'm just saying, interesting. Okay. Should I read the chat? Should we do this? Thank you, Pikachu, for sharing. All right. Oh gosh. Okay. Felicia has said, let me see. I think it's interesting too. Like Susie Q just said someone named I've never heard of that person. And sometimes doesn't it seem odd when somebody doesn't know the person that you feel like is so famous? Like, has that ever happened to you? Because I've done that before and I'm like, and I've never heard of. So that is also why I think it's important with this course that I didn't want to just name names, because just depending on who's in the room, it's more about the behaviors, which is something Maggie Patterson and Michelle Mazur talk a lot about. Because for a while I was like, why don't you name names? Like we want it. It's just like the shit talker in me, I guess, wants names. But I think it's interesting because if I don't know who that is, then it doesn't matter. And then there could be someone just like them who's doing the same thing. It's more about the behaviors. Okay, Anon, what do you got to say?
Well, just for everybody who's here, if you ever see someone named, let them know I'd like my 700 euros back, and don't work with that guy. That's like more my granular one, but I guess I shared my story about having money straight up just taken for nothing. Not even like I got in there and the course was bad. It's like there wasn't one. In terms of other people I don't trust, I could think about that a bit, but I wanted to get that name out there for those of you who are here.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So if you could go back in time, what advice would you give yourself about courses or coaching or anything like that?
So first piece of advice is only ever pay by card.
Yes.
Unless it's somebody that like I really trust. And then like the other advice, which is kind of the advice that I've given myself this year, is like stop searching. Like just stop believing that the answer lies outside of you. Like I've got right now currently 2 communities that I participate in that are really good, really supportive. When I actually execute on the stuff that's in there, it feels good and it works in terms of getting me more visible and so on. So like, just stop is the advice that like, especially when I was going through the period where I was buying just so many courses and memberships and coaching and blah, 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 where, you know, I was really feeling I was lacking, and I was a new mom, and like everything was happening at once. Like, I wish I could go back and say, like, yo, like, chill out a little bit, like, just slow your roll, slow it down, take some time, and then, revisit it, and be super selective. That's the other thing I'd tell myself. Like, only if you feel really good around those people, like, is it worth staying there? I feel good and I actively want to go and engage with that community instead of like feeling like ashamed or I'm bad or I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. So if it doesn't feel good, don't do it, would be the other piece of advice.
Yes, those are all good. Good ones. Good ones. Okay. Take another course, Tina.
I want to echo a lot of what Anand said, and this may sound silly or weird or any of these things, but like, watch some videos with that person, because sometimes like people's personalities or voices or like they're just not maybe a fit for you, and that fit is so important. If you're gonna, for whatever reason, it sounds really judgmental and really I don't know, I'll stop judging my judgment. But
yeah, this is the place. This is a safe
right,
place for judgment.
it's like you've really got to enjoy the energy of the person, because regardless of what they're promising or what you pay, if you don't like sharing space with that person, ain't gonna work.
Yes. Do you mean like their own content, or are you trying to find some videos like, or just any videos with them in it? At first I thought you meant like you could find a video where they were like in the video but not the center of the video, and then they would be like, I don't know, being rude to like a server or something. Like I was like ready to go in deep like a detective.
That'd be great. It's like, can I see a video of you with the server? No, I mean like their videos, like how they are on camera. Go to their Instagram page, take maybe a small course of theirs, like just see how it is. Because if you're about to purchase this thing with 1 million modules of them on video, you better like what you're seeing, hearing, feeling.
Yeah.
That's
a good one. That's
Thank
good.
you.
Yes. All right, Felicia.
Totally resonate with what you are saying. Would definitely give myself the advice to slow down and stop searching for sure. And I think that, I don't know, I'm just really feeling like this journey is meant to be enjoyed. Like it's the process of running the business and growing it and learning. And I don't know why, but I've always just put so much pressure on myself to hurry up and get someplace that I wasn't, and felt like these classes and courses could help me get there faster. And if I would just slow down and enjoy the process and really set that as my intention, I wouldn't have bought all these courses and classes and wasted the money to begin with. Maybe also like setting a rule for myself that I wouldn't buy a new class or course until I finished one that I had already purchased. Set some parameters around that so I could really complete something and see whether it was helpful or not, and really to vet a person and their content before signing up for something. Maybe do more research, maybe ask people if they have done the class or if they like what they thought of it. But that's like a slippery slope too, because that trauma program that I signed up for, I did talk to someone who had done that class and she raved about it. She said it was the best investment since graduate school. And I was like, oh, okay, well, if she got so much out of it, then I probably will too, only to find that she was working with the person who was selling the program on the side and was like getting incentives for having people sign up for that class. So it's a little bit tricky, but that would be advice I would give myself, is like, hold off, don't sign up so fast, do some research, make a more informed decision. And also seeing people in the chat saying, just trust your intuition and know that you can kind of figure it out on your own and not being in such a damn hurry to do it overnight, I think would be advice I would give myself now.
So good. Yeah. Slowing down. I have to remind myself of that all the time, because you do. I mean, I think that's just probably, I don't know. I'm speaking like dipping my toe and saying stuff that seems, I don't know. I'm like, I think that's a product of capitalism, but I'm not sure because I'm not that well read on capital. But I think us trying to like hurry, make money, make it fast, do the thing quickly, right? That's probably part of that. I don't know. Maybe not. Something else. Another big word I don't know that well. Okay, someone's giving me 100%. Thank you. Okay. All right, Pikachu, give us some advice too. I love this advice. This is amazing. I'm feeling really good about how we're ending this.
I would say that the money you spend on courses and things online is not monopoly money. There is no scenario in real life where if someone's like, hey, this thing you only heard about an hour ago is $2,000, get in now, and and I'm like dropping my credit card, like, yes, this is for me. I would never invest in something that's $2,000 without consulting my partner, without doing like proper reviews on whether it's for me or not, and like earmarking that money appropriately. Yeah, when it comes to the online world, suddenly it's like, oh, I have to get in. You may not even share it with your partner because later comes the guilt that you spent that money, and you kind of hope that you get value from it really quickly. So yeah, the first thing is I would say just treat your money in your bank account on the online world a little bit more seriously. And then the secondary thing is people are talking a lot about trusting your intuition, but these, which I agree with 100%, but these webinars and marketing funnels are designed to override your intuition, to make FOMO come to the top. As we said earlier, they're preying your fears. So I tell myself to realize that my intuition may feel broken at times. So to give myself more space to make those decisions and to forgo that amazing bonus. If I really want that product, it doesn't matter enough whether the bonus comes with it. Just give myself more grace and space.
Yes, that is a really good point too, that they're designed to sort of put us in that, lizard brain, like we're not thinking properly or whatever. So that's a really good point. So also, I mean, I've signed up for webinars. I could have trusted my intuition when I was filling out the form, maybe to the webinar. You're kind of like, well, I'll just see what they're going to say. Like maybe trying to listen to the intuition before, because once you get in too deep, it's a little hard to hear it, like you were saying. And again, another vote for slowing down. I agree. Macy, what do you have for us?
Hey there. So also echoing things people have said. Sorry, you might hear my cat. She just walked up to the computer. So one thing I would say is just doing the thing. Like when I think about the people I admire, the people I follow, the reason that they've gotten to be successful, honestly, when you look at what they've done, not what they say, it's because they've done the thing. They've gone and built the freelancing business. They've grown their email list, whatever it is that they're saying that you need to do. They've just done it. And that's why they made a course on it. And it's like, you can find, I mean, you could use YouTube or podcasts and find out just about anything. And that was the next thing I was going to say, is that with one name in particular I mentioned, I don't even have like a lot of resentment for her. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's part of the manipulation too, but it's the fact that I could have gotten everything I needed from her in her free content, and it's up to me to implement it, right? So it's like partially I own my part in that, but also that shows that like I don't need to keep buying courses and things. I could just act on what I already know, because I do know those things. And the time that I'm spending even consuming the content, I could be actually doing the thing that I'm trying to learn how to do and learning from that. And I go through that all the time. I was just the other day I was saying I should get an MBA, and my husband's like, why don't you just keep working on the stuff and then you'll get to the same result that you wanted anyway? And I'm like, yeah, good point. And then with that, also planning my time. I've noticed that I have a tendency to procrastinate. I don't know if anyone else has this feeling. It's like there's so many things that we do that are hard, and the actual doing, even though I want the thing to be done, it's like, oh, well, I'll just go watch this course, or I'll just go listen to this podcast. And if I'm being really honest with myself, I'm really like kind of hiding or shying away from the thing that I need to be or step into to be able to get to that next level, which ironically will get me to where I want to be. So yeah, I'm trying not to have shame, but also I try to have accountability in my part in that, because they are speaking to that part of us that just wants to skip all this messy parts and just get to the end.
Something I want to touch on just really quick, because it popped in my head, because you talked about the free content. It's so funny because they even talk about a lot of times, like, don't worry, just give it away for free because they're still going to buy the course. And I've always been like, what? And it's true. I mean, it's true. But I think the reason it's true, and we've definitely discussed this today, is because we're buying the dream that they're selling on the sales page and we're not getting it. Like the reason we're whipping out our credit card is not because they're going to teach us, 6 modules on how to make a course. The reason that we're whipping out our credit card is because they have these testimonials that say, I launched it in a week and made $100,000 or whatever. So I think it's interesting that you touched on that, because part of it is, I feel like we are buying what they're selling. They're just not giving us what we're buying, if that makes sense. I don't know. Anyways, this was all great. Does anybody else have anything else to add? Giving advice. This was all great advice. You guys are amazing. You're helping me make the course better. This was like the best. I mean, it was a sad, upsetting conversation, obviously, but I'm feeling really good about people getting to listen to this in the future and hopefully just feel like they're not alone and that it's not their fault. The system is set up for this. And I'm hoping more and more people are talking about it and we can help people not go down this rabbit hole or feel bad about anything they've done. So I just really thank you guys for coming here and sharing and being vulnerable. And you guys are amazing. This was awesome. Thank you guys. All right, bye.